gentlemen, you're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
So you spend the afternoon on South Beach sunning yourself with some supermodels, having a great time. And then you say, you know what, I'd like to see a ball game. So you get on the MacArthur Causeway, you head to downtown Miami, and that's exactly the route, as it is time for baseball. As the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Miami Marlins in the second game of a two-game set from Marlins Park in Miami, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kane. Yankees have hit a little bit of a skid after winning 7 in a row. They've lost 4 of their last 5 last night. A big crowd here in Miami, but the Yankees couldn't get it done offensively. They lose 2-1.
They did. It was a well-pitched game on both sides. Tom Kohler with the Marlins is very good. Masahiro Tanaka, since he's come back from the DL, has been very good. Top of the second inning, Mark Teixeira, his 18th home run on the season. Fastball up out over the plate. What can you say about Mark Teixeira? Such a good season. Masahiro Tanaka against Derek Dietrich, who just got called up a few days ago. The difference in this ball game, 2-1. Late in the game, big crowd here last night, 33,000 plus. Alex Rodriguez comes up with 2 outs in the ninth, the runner at first base. A.J. Ramos nails it down in a big win for the Marlins.
All right, the Yankees will try to even it up. We'll take a look now at the pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank N.A. See what know-how can do for you. Former Yankee David Phelps will get the start for the Marlins. Former Marlin Nathan Eovaldi will get the start for the Yankees, and he pitched well in his last time out.
He did. Battle of the trades, Michael. Nathan Eovaldi, the last few starts has been good, and just watching Eovaldi, one of the best fastballs in baseball, it's not about that. When Nathan Eovaldi is effective, he gets his changeup over and the slider. He did against the Nationals in an eventual Yankee loss in extra innings. Eovaldi's a tough pitcher when he gets his off-speed pitches over.
You wonder what the emotions are for Eovaldi, and you wonder what the emotions are going to be for David Phelps. Came up as a Yankee, now he's a Marlin, and Meredith Marakovitz caught up with him and asked him what he's thinking going into this game. That's coming up next, right here on Yes.
Michael, as you mentioned, David Phelps will get the ball for the Marlins tonight, and he was drafted by the Yankees organization in the 14th round of the 2008 draft. He worked his way through the system, eventually making his major league debut in 2012. Yankees life was really the only baseball life David Phelps knew until he was traded this past offseason to the Marlins. Now he has the opportunity to face off against his former teammates, a challenge he's looking forward to.
I've watched very few Yankees games thinking how to try and get them out. I was more rooting for them to get hits and stuff. So I don't know if anybody necessarily has an advantage. I mean, Servey was 2 for 2 off me with a homer when I pitched against him in Pittsburgh. And so it's just one of those things. It's, you know, in baseball, the pitcher tends to have the advantages based on the numbers. And so it's about going out and making pitches. I faced a lot of these guys in some inter-squad games and some live BPs. And so I've got an idea about how they set up to the plate and stuff like that. I mean, they've watched enough of me behind me. They know what my pitches do, and it's going to be fun.
One game doesn't indicate the winner or loser of a trade, but you can be sure a lot of eyes will be on both of these pitchers this evening. Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. Michael Kay and Al Leiter coming your way next with lineups, first pitch baseball, right here on Yes.
With the roof closed in Marlins Park, the Marlins have taken the field. David Phelps is taking his warm-up tosses, and we'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus that will face their former teammate. Brett Gardner in center field leads off. Batting second, the shortstop Didi Gregorius. Hitting third, first baseman Mark Teixeira. The catcher Brian McCann cleans up. Batting fifth, the third baseman Chase Headley. Carlos Beltran's in right field. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh, playing left field, Chris Young. Brendan Ryan gets to start at second base. He'll bat eighth. No DH in the National League ballpark, so the pitcher Nathan Eovaldi will bat ninth. And on the mound for the Marlins, it's David Phelps.
Yes, it is. David Phelps. Yankee fans remember him. He did a nice job for the 3 seasons that he was with the Yankees. There you see his numbers. Good and bad. Here's a guy that's going to pitch. He puts the ball in play and throws a lot of strikes. Let's take a look at the Tri-Honda Dealers area pitcher scouting report. He's a pitcher. You bet. 4-seamer, 2-seamer. He throws a curveball, a slider, and a changeup. He uses it all. Yankee universe. How about this? He's one of 5 former Yankee pitchers who have started more than 5 games for other teams this year. A.J. Burnett, Bartolo Colon, Phil Hughes and Ian Kennedy. So they're all over the place. And I had to put a Mike Kekich in here, Michael. First since Mike Kekich, Phelps is the first Yankee pitcher to record 9+ starts and 9 relief appearances in 3 consecutive seasons since Mike Kekich did it in 1969 and 1971.
That's an impressive scouting report when you can get Mike Kekich.
I thought so, and I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I did. I really did.
Good.
All right, so the Yankees try to split this 2-game set. They have another 2-game set against the Marlins starting tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium, as the Yankees will be home for a while starting tomorrow night. But they have business tonight. Brett Gardner digs in. He's ready. David Phelps is ready. And let's do it here in Miami. First pitch is a strike, and we're underway. Gabe Morales, the home plate umpire. The crew chief, Dale Scott, at first. Lance Barrett at second. C.B. Buckner is over at third. Dietrich in on the grass at third. As Gardner fouls it back, it's 0-2. Now Dietrich will back up with 2 strikes.
Always respecting and honoring a guy that can steal a base. We saw it with D. Gordon, a speedster with the Marlins, a nice, young, exciting player, and certainly Gardner showed it last night. He tried to drag bunt, ended up popping it up last night.
1-2.
Yeah, I mentioned about Phelps in the scout report, a pitcher. Here's a guy that's not going to overpower with stuff, as Eovaldi with velocity for the Yankees does. All different ways of getting it done.
2-2 on Gardner. Gardner in Baltimore and Miami, 2 for 15 on this road trip. Yankees lost 2 out of 3 at Camden Yards. Lost the first game here last night. The 2-2. Fouled away.
Well, the hot and cold certainly last night with Masahiro Tanaka pitching a well-pitched game, 7 innings, 9 hits, 2 runs, but when you only get 3 hits, one of them being a home run off the bat at Mark Teixeira, and Gregorius was 2 for 3 last night. Those were your 3 hits.
High fly ball right field. Giancarlo Stanton makes the play for the first out. Why don't we take a look at the Marlins defense, which is presented by Geico. The Gold Glove winner, Christian Yelich, is in left. Marcell Ozuna is in center. We told you about Stanton, right? Infield, it's Dietrich, Echeverria, Gordon, and Bohr, third to first. Behind the plate, it's Real Muto. And on the mound, David Phelps. Strange spot to see D.D. Gregorius batting second in the lineup. And there's a strike. Now there's a method to Girardi's madness. They think that Phelps is tougher on lefties than he is on righties. So they have played Brendan Ryan over Stephen Drew. That one's popped up and out of play. And they played Chris Young instead of Mason Williams. The lone exception in this thought process is D.D. Gregorius.
Yeah, I was looking at the lefty-righty splits and a little curious. Lefties, now it's batting average against Michael, but lefties do hit Phelps better to a 252 or less, 252 to 270 batting average. Ooh.
And Gregorius down on strikes. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. Now it's 86 degrees outside. Inside with the roof closed at 72. The wind is not a factor since the roof is closed. 62% humidity, partly cloudy. But you don't worry about that when the roof is closed. Now no one knows you better than the team that you play for. So the Yankees obviously think that he's tougher on lefties than he is on righties. There would be no other reason not to play Drew and Mason Williams. Put righties in instead. Teixeira with a 6-game hitting streak. He's 6 for 15 on this road trip. And he had a home run last night. Phelps quickly ahead of him, 0-2.
Well, that's David Phelps. That's what he does. Pound the zone. His last start, he had 28 looking or called strikes. 29 called strikes, the second most of any game in his career.
That one's tapped back to Phelps, and he works an easy 1-2-3 inning as the Yankees go down in order. Yankees nothing, and the Marlins coming to bat. D. Gordon, the second baseman, will lead off, batting second, playing third base, Derek Dietrich. Christian Yelich in left field will hit third. Cleaning up the right field is Giancarlo Stanton. Marcell Ozuna, the center fielder, bats fifth, batting sixth, playing first base, Justin Bour. J.T. Real Muto, the catcher, will bat seventh, batting eighth and playing shortstop, Adeiny Echeverria. And David Phelps will pitch, bat ninth.
And Nathan Eovaldi on the mound, a 25-year-old right-hander from Alvin, Texas. Same high school Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan went to. He was an 11th round draft pick by the Dodgers in 2008. You see his numbers. Let's take a look at the pitcher scout report, brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Picking up the W's. He's 5-1 in 12 starts for the Yankees, matching his fewest losses over a 12-game span in his career. He's never won more than 6 games in a season, so he has a chance to tie that tonight. Left-handed batters have his number. 380 batting average against 142 plate appearances. Righties are batting 252. Has to solve that and be more consistent. You know, you watch his games and puts in a really good one and then a not so good one, and it really comes down to his consistency of off-speed pitches, Michael. When he gets his, he started throwing a split. He used to throw a changeup, and he gets his slider and now curveball. He's tough because his fastball is one of the fastest in baseball.
0-1 count on Gordon. Chop to third. Headley gets the speedster for the first out. Why don't we check out the Yankee defense, which is presented by Geico. We've got Chris Young at left, Brett Gardner in center, and Carlos Beltran over at right. The Yankees will hold their breath with Carlos out in the big right field. In the infield, it's Headley, Gregorius, Ryan, and Teixeira. That's third to first. McCann behind the plate, and Eovaldi is on the mound. Here's Dietrich. And there's a strike.
Derek Dietrich last night was the one-man wrecking crew against Tanaka. The Yankees 2 for 4 with a home run and a double. 2 runs scored.
There's a base hit to left field. Young cuts it off. And there's a one-out single.
Got called up on the 12th and making the most of it. Had 2 at-bats coming into last night. Young third baseman called up from New Orleans.
Here's Yelich. And chopped over the mound. Gregorius bobbles, fires, not in time. And that should be an E6. Oh, they gave him a base hit.
I guess the level of difficulty and also home cooking here Your home stadium. Let's see here. Without the bobble, he's out. The bobble, clearly the reason why Yelich beat it out. I'm with you, Michael. I think that's an error.
So now, Eovaldi in some trouble, first and second, with one man out, and the dangerous Giancarlo Stanton, 23 home runs. That leads Major League Baseball. He's driven in 59. He's living the good life, Al. 13-year contract, $325 million. I saw him come out of a building in downtown Miami today, and he was wearing jeans and a T-shirt and got into his Maserati and headed to the ballpark. Last 8 games, living well with a .500 batting average.
Not a bad life, huh, Mikey?
No. Nope.
Well, there was a lot talked about down here with a low payroll team, a fan base that hasn't really embraced the Marlins. Trying to do something here. There's Jeffrey Loria, the owner of the Marlins, a guy who loves baseball. So passionate. Gives him a 13-year deal, $325 million. Good kid, Mike. I don't know if you get a chance to talk to Giancarlo, but he's smart, he cares, hard worker. Both sides of the baseball too. You see it with Mike Trout out in Anaheim. This guy's very similar in the sense of knowing that you're not just a hitter, you're also a fielder. I see a lot of similarity with Dave Winfield. I really do. In Dave's prime, of course, when he was early years.
Grounded to third, backhanded by Headley, and he has no play, a base hit. Did save a run, so an infield single for Stanton, and the bases are loaded with one out.
Oh, he's out in front, looked like a little split finger. Well, I don't think it was a slider. You see the little Chase Headley moving to his left, as Knight, by keeping that ball in, obviously held the runner at third base, preserving a run. Eovaldi's in trouble here now. Watch that little split. It looks like either backup slider or too much of the plate for a hitter like Stanton.
Here is Ozuna. And the pitch is high, 1-0. Yankees looking for the double play at second and short. Now Headley backs up at third. Missed outside. And Ozuna has worked a hitter's count now, 2-0. His numbers with the bases loaded. 35 times he's come up in that situation. A .343 hitter. Oh. Dietrich at third, Yelich at second, and Stanton at first.
Yeah, with Eovaldi, you know, hit fastball. He's in a count where he needs to throw a strike. It'd be a real nervy pitch for him to throw something off speed, and it's the MO for Eovaldi. He's got enough fastball to get it by guys, but you have to show opposing hitters that you can get your off-speed pitches over for strikes. Well, went with the slider.
And the count 3-0.
Yeah, that's a gutsy pitch there, because the doubt creeps in. You got a guy throwing 98, albeit only one hard line shot from Dietrich to the outfield. The last two were one was a number, and there you see the off the side of the ball, perfect shot to show the slider. Nice job by Can keeping that ball from not going to the backstop.
All right, 3-0. Do you pump in a fastball here? I guess you'd have to.
Yes.
You have no place to put Ozuna. And do they green light Ozuna? 98-mile-an-hour fastball for a strike.
So now the feeling here, Michael, is if he went 3 breaking balls in a row, especially the 2-0 to get the 3-0, you're saying that that's the pitch to get him out. You've got to throw an off speed. Up, went heater.
challenging him.
You know, the pitchers, they go through the scouting report. Obviously, you look at video, you see similar matchups. Justin Bour on deck, left-handed hitter. But if the approach in the scouting report is Marcell Ozuna, which is a guy that you can expand. Saw Sergio Santo last night in the game through slider after slider, and he swung at a pitch that was 58 feet.
Eovaldi wants to talk with McCann.
Yeah, this is the whole cat and mouse here. You got Eovaldi, who has the best fastball average in baseball. The minimum 400 pitches. Joe Kelly with the Red Sox and Matt Harvey with the Mets. So you would say early in the game, okay, I'm bases loaded. Here it is, hit it somewhere down the zone, turn a double play ball.
Three-two. Grounded past the diving Teixeira and into right field. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. It's a 2-run signal for Ozuna, and it's 2-0 Marlins.
CNI right here. You see where Teixeira is way off the line. He played the pull Ozuna that the Yankee defense was. A couple little numbers and the ball through the hole. And here early going, the Marlins are up. It looked like he even got jammed on it. Watch here. Look at Teixeira way off. Up the middle pinch for double play. Tex couldn't get to it.
So Stanton stopped at second. Larry Rothschild makes a trip out to the mound. And that's going to bring up Justin Bour. Two 2-0 Miami. And the pitch high, 1-0. Early on, Al, it looks like he's not throwing his secondary pitches for strikes. It looks like the fastball is the only one he's throwing for a strike.
That's right. I mean, that last pitch, too, Michael, you can see it. He's trying to get me over slider up in the zone, according to Gabe Morales, the home plate umpire. And that's the struggle for Eovaldi. There's another one. So you wondered, here he is back where he pitched a couple years with the Marlins. You know, there's an amp. You kind of elevate your anxiety, aggressiveness, trying to impress, show your old team, calm it down, slow it down. So between the slider and the split, this is the new pitch. Awesome shot. You see that. That is more than a split. That is a forkball. So he's been working on trying to get a second off-speed pitch, and that's it. Wow, that's really jammed in there. That's a forkball. I actually thought he was throwing a split finger. And when thrown properly out in front, you got that really good tumble effect. We saw Tanaka last night. He's got a great one.
Finally gets an off-speed pitch over, and it's 2-2.
So really, so far, his forkball, not going to call it a split, his forkball and slider look similar, and similar velocity.
Bounce that one up there, 3-2.
Frustrating. Starting pitcher, you come out, you feel great out of the pen. Imagine Eovaldi with what he possesses arm strength wise, and feel good all the time. Give up a single and a CNI and a ball off your shortstop's glove, and you're down 2-0.
Line drive, base hit to right field. Beltran cuts it off. Stanton scores easily. Ozuna moves to third. It's an RBI single for Bour, and it's a 3-0 Marlins lead.
Eovaldi just out of sorts here. Another off-speed pitch. Looks like a slider. Justin Bour getting his 11th RBI on the season. A slider coming down and in. Always dangerous. But when you talk about pitching and setting up hitters, and there's his slider grip. Middle of the plate. He's struggling with location. Most every left-hander I know, they like that ball down and in. Especially a rolling slider as that pitch we just showed.
And the pitch to Real Muto is outside 1-0. No action in the Yankee pen. It's 3-0 Marlins. Another base hit to right field. Ozuna scores easily. Bour moves to second. An RBI single for Real Muto. And it's 4-0 Marlins.
Yeah, good approach right there by Real Muto. See nobody warming up in the Yankee bullpen. First inning, you're hoping to get a ground ball here. Real Muto puts his foot down, and you see hitters, if they realize, hey, you got a guy that's throwing 97 to 100 miles an hour, don't try to do a whole lot. Just put the barrel to the ball, and in that case, Real Muto going the other way, as we saw with Marcell Ozuna. Not a way to start the game.
Here is Echeverria. Robbed Headley of 2 base hits last night on 2 line drives, hitting .300. Drive deep to left field. Young back, still back, going back, and it is over his head and up against the wall. 2 runs will score for the Marlins right after each other, and at third with a 2-run triple is Echeverria. And it's a nightmare first inning for Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, this is a tough inning to say the least. The slider, you see middle of the plate. Echeverria just putting a good pass at it. Way out there. Thought it maybe Young had a shot at it. It's a long way. You see this pitch, and then you see the runners. Real Muto really got a good read on it. You see the effort there.
Here's Phelps, infield in, and there's a strike.
Right here, you see Real Muto. He's got a good angle to it. Justin Bour not as fast as the catcher, Real Muto. And you see the Bour. They thought that Young may have caught it. Real Muto had to slow down for Mr. Bour.
1-1 to Phelps. 6-0 Marlins. Still no one up in the Yankee bullpen. Phelps looks down for the sign. Echeverria leads off third with 1 out. Chop to Gregorius. 2 outs. Now, if you want to come down on the side of Eovaldi, you can say, hey, Gregorius didn't help him any by booting the ground ball by Yelich. But pitchers have to pick up their fielders as well. Now, a base hit was given on that. And sure, Gregorius should have made the play. But that doesn't mean you unravel to give up 6 runs.
Of course, Michael. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's little numbers that end up being hits or not. I mean, you look at it, you know, I mean, this is the way it plays out. Sometimes Murphy Law does apply. There's games where you just throw it down the middle, guys popping it up. Right now, there's a good approach from the Marlin hitters.
And they know Eovaldi very, very well. The 0-1. 0-2. Chris Capuano doing some stretching. Hasn't yet thrown. Still 0-2. 98-mile-an-hour fastball. 31 pitches for Eovaldi. The 0-2.
That's a count right there. It's a put away count. I mean, this is where pitches you try to get to 0-2, and then you have the pitch or two off speed. In the case of the Eovaldi, he's got a slider, split finger, something that has the illusion of a strike, but it's a ball, and it's somewhere down off the plate. It's like he wants a slider.
Base hit, pass to Shera. Echeverria scores. Gordon with an RBI single. It's 7-0 Miami. 7 runs in an inning, a season high for the Marlins. 8 hits in an inning, a season high for the Marlins.
Well, you look here, he's got the 0-2 count. McCann ready for something that's going to be back foot down here, and he throws it inner third belt on the plate. It's a mistake. A mistaken location. You watch his spin, kind of just pulls his hands in. D. Gordon, good hitter. You got to be better than that. And I know it happens, and I know you have games like this. You see it nightly.
Here's Dietrich, who started off with a single earlier this inning. For D. Gordon, that is his major league leading 94th hit of the year. One and one.
Now, the hard part about this, Michael, you know, you've got a pitcher who's up to 35 pitches. Typical inning for a pitcher, they say Chris Capuano warming up, is about 10 to 15 pitches. Good inning.
That one deep to right field. Beltran back, it's over his head and up against the wall. Gordon scores easily. Dietrich with a double. It's 8-0 Marlins. I told you right field was going to be a challenge for Beltran in this ballpark, and it's 392 out there, and kind of got a slow read on it. Couldn't get back and make the play, so it's a double. And that is going to do it for Nathan Eovaldi. 2/3 of an inning, and he gives up 8 runs. There's Beltran going back, and no chance. Girardi makes the Verizon call to the bullpen. A nightmarish inning start for Nathan Eovaldi. His worst as a Yankee. He departs the booze, and Capuano comes in. TriStateBuick.com. And by RE/MAX. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX. All fun and games for the Dolphins, but not for the Yankees. As Nathan Eovaldi just gets hammered here in the first inning. And Girardi has to go to Chris Capuano. And this will be a long outing for Capuano. He's got to eat up some innings.
Before his elbow injury and DL time, he's had 3 starts of his 7 appearances, Capuano. You're right, Mike. This is like a start for him.
And a strike to Yelich. Those are the numbers for Capuano. The 0-1. There's a strike, 0-2.
I think I said elbow. He had a quad strain.
Ground ball to second. Ryan is there, and finally the third out. 8 runs, 9 hits, 1 man left. Marlins 8, Yankees nothing.
Montefiore inspired medicine. I'm Meredith Morakovitz with this injury report, and as you see, Jacoby Ellsbury still can't run at 100%. He has progressed a little bit, guys. He took batting practice on the field the last 2 days, but the plan was for him to stay here in Tampa when the team returns north to New York. However, Joe Girardi said today that will not be the case. Instead, he will travel with the team and continue to do rehab as the Yankees trainers watch him. Earlier today, he was on the field throwing. He also did some running in the outfield, and as I mentioned, he took batting practice, but Joe Girardi said they are not going to let him continue with his rehab down in Tampa until they feel like he's running 100%. He said that's just something we don't want to take a chance with. They originally thought he'd be back by the end of June. Girardi saying that's no longer realistic. You're probably looking at closer to the All-Star break right now.
Yeah, you could see, Meredith, the way he's just walking around, you know, at the ballpark, even without baseball activities. He still has a little bit of a limp, so I don't think he's close to playing yet. Yankees have an 8-0 deficit as we go to the second, and Brian McCann takes a strike from Phelps. Fly ball down the right field line, giving chase to Stanton, and it lands fair. And Stanton comes up throwing, holding McCann to a single.
And out in front of David Phelps' pitch, a little sinker down, and whether they thought it was hook and foul or Giancarlo Stanton, you can watch the ball just land right inside the foul line. Perfectly placed.
And a strike to Headley.
String together good at bats. I mean, it's a big deficit, obviously, after only 1 inning. A game like this, hitters have to think real small. This at bat, this pitch, good at bats.
Well, when Joe Torre was the manager, and there'd be a big deficit, the team would come back into the dugout and say, let's chip away.
Yep.
1, 2 at a time. You can't get 8 all at once. I mean, the Marlins got 8 in 1 innings, but it's tough. So you get 1 here, 2 the next inning, and you see if you can do it. That's distressing watching Eovaldi with the stuff that he has, Al, get hit the way he got hit. You know, he came in with a 5-1 record and over 4 ERA. He gives up a lot of hits. That's always been his bugaboo. But if you can't get a breaking ball over, it doesn't matter if you throw 99 miles an hour. Big leaguers will hit you.
No question. You said it. And I think that's the interesting part of Nathan Eovaldi, why he was a high pick. Actually he had Tommy John surgery his junior year of high school. He was going to be a #1 pick. Ended up being a lower round by the Dodgers. The 11th round in 2008. But when you have a guy like Eovaldi with the stuff that he has, that's what you base it on, right? You look around and the scouts are looking for people with an arm like Eovaldi. But you got to have other pitches, put away pitches.
Ground ball to third. There's 1. And there's 2. And around the horn, 5-4-3 double play.
Located as well. Derek Dietrich over to D. Gordon. Let's see. Bang, bang. Ooh.
Headley is kind of hovering near Tony Pena. They're checking out the replay. See if the Yankees challenge.
There we go. Boy, that's probably why they're taking so long. That's not conclusive.
Here's Carlos Beltran. I think that what the Yankees did with Eovaldi is they gambled on Larry Rothschild, being able to teach him that other pitch, because the Dodgers have given up on the arm, the Marlins have given up on the arm, but the Yankees have such great belief in Rothschild, they think he can be fixed.
Yeah, well, Larry, and I know why. I've had Larry Rothschild as my pitching coach, one of the best in the business.
You know, there's an old saying in basketball: you can't teach height, you can't teach velocity. So you've got that part down. And you teach him a breaking ball, you have a great pitcher.
You really do. I mean, look at even here. I mean, it's serviceable as different guys in the big leagues, and you could see a guy like a Phelps who just jammed Chase Headley on an 89-mile-an-hour fastball.
Ground ball to second. D. Gordon will get Beltran, and that'll do it in the second. No runs a hit, and nobody left. We go to the bottom of the second. It's 8-0 Miami.
action, full of possibilities, full of life. Major offseason moves, certainly. That man, Dan Jennings, who was actually the general manager, the field manager, made those moves. D. Gordon, Danny Herron, Giancarlo Stanton got the big deal. Michael Morse, Matt Latos, they brought in a lot of players. Lightning and thunder. D. Gordon, stolen bases, 22, second in the National League. Giancarlo Stanton leads all of baseball in home runs and RBIs. And pitching has been disappointing, and the reason why they are sitting where they are in fourth place in the NL East.
Capuano deals to Stanton, and there's a strike.
This is an interesting team, and they've done a lot. I think they're in position, especially with parity in baseball. Talking to Dan Jennings and people around this team, they do not feel like they're out of it. They shouldn't. 7 games back.
0-2. Those are the last 5 seasons for Stanton, and those seasons got him that 13-year contract. An All-Star last year and in 2012. The 0-2. Now he only wears the protection on his face against right-handed pitchers. He takes it off against lefties like Capuano. Get a longer look.
Longer look. The breaking ball's coming into you from first base side.
Now Capuano came on to get the final out of the first, and after he got back to the dugout, a long talk with Joe Girardi, and obviously Girardi said, "You're gonna have to give us some innings. We can't burn the whole bullpen here." The 1-2. Ground ball is short. Backhanded by Gregorius. 1 away.
Changing speeds, Michael. Talking about Evaldi, and hopefully for the Yankees' sake that he figures it out. Here you got Chris Capuano. There's a conversation you were talking about, Michael. So probably what you just said, Mike. Say, look, you're coming out of the pen, but keep throwing up zeros and give me all you have.
Girardi did a lot of the talking there. Here's Ozuna. One and one. And the pitch. Tapped in front of the plate, but kicks foul. Marlins just trying to inch up to 500. They're 28-37. Yankees come in at 34-29. They've already changed managers. Mike Redmond let go. Dan Jennings, who had never been in uniform other than in high school as a coach, he has taken over, moved from GM to manager. Count 2-2.
Yeah, how about that? Longtime scout, good baseball guy, Dan Jennings. I like him a lot. Oh, it did end up hitting him, huh? Bouncing around. Watch here, the fastball in, foot goes down by Ozuna.
He didn't seem like he wanted to take first.
Right, I was standing around waiting. Oh, you know what? It got his
glossy part of his pants.
Loose pants.
I'll tell you what, Al, I wonder, because you know the Yankees had Buck Showalter as a manager. He's gone on to manage other teams and successfully. He had never played in the big leagues. And I always got the sense that he worked as hard as he did because he wasn't sure that the players gave him the same respect or would have if he didn't show that he was willing to work. And this guy, who was a high-level minor league player, pretty good hitter in the minors, never got a major league chance. And a guy like Tony La Russa didn't play much in the majors, was a bust in the majors. He worked so hard. Jim Leyland. I wonder what they think of a guy like Jennings. I mean, is there a respect there if you didn't do what they did?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what he told the team when he took over, and he's a real good guy and a great communicator. He said exactly what you just said, because he recognized that. He even posed that to the team. He said, guys, I get it. If I was sitting in that very chair looking at me, I would feel that way. He said, just give me the opportunity to earn your respect. I will show you and do all I can, what I think is appropriate as a manager. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see if I can gain your respect. It's very honest, Michael.
It's a very gutsy, and some might say odd call by Jeffrey Loria. He could have gone a lot of ways in getting rid of Redmond, and he went the unorthodox. Almost picked off Ozuna. They've had a lot of managers here.
Last 6 years, Michael. How about 7 managers? Watch here, Capuano, little short step. Ooh. 7 managers since Freddie Gonzalez, 2010.
Mark Teixeira staring into the dugout as if to say, I think I got him. But Joe said, let's go. Joe Girardi, a former Marlin manager, and he won the Manager of the Year, managed here 1 year and was fired. So Jeffrey Loria has a little bit of an itchy trigger finger when it comes to managers. Let's see if they got him. Hard to see the base on that one.
No, the fact that he tagged him in the back puts a little more doubt.
I think the real disappointment for Jeffrey Loria, though, Al, was he had so much faith in Ozzie Guillen. Coming in here, the Latin community in Miami, he would have been the perfect manager. And then, what, a week in, Ozzie gives an interview where he compliments Fidel Castro, who's not exactly a revered figure here in the Cuban community. And it wasn't too good for Ozzie after that. Ozzie ended the season 69-93, and then he was gone. And then Mike Redmond, who lasted 2 years, and this year was relieved for Dan Jennings.
New stadium in the midst of it, leaving the old football stadium. This place, by the way, is a great little ballpark.
One, 2. 2-2. This place is built on the side of the old Orange Bowl.
Yep.
The exact site, the footprint of that famous football stadium. Two. Got him. Two outs.
There's a pitch by Capuano here, in on the hands. A little late life. Like Moore swung at a ball.
Eight nothing Marlins. If you just tuned in, the Marlins are with an 8th spot in the first inning, knocking out Nathan Eovaldi, who only got 2 outs. Here's Real Muto. And a strike. One and one. Yankees have 1 hit against their former teammate David Phelps. A bloop single down the right field line by Brian McCann. 2-1. The only Marlin that didn't have a hit in the first inning was David Phelps. Everybody joined the party. Two and two. Down 8-0 in the second, Al. How does the team keep its interest?
You know, it's hard. Well, interest is easy, but it's hard to think about the small little moment that's make a pitch for the pitcher. That's a batter to know what you want to do and really just keep it in that moment. I mean, that's what baseball players try to do. And the ones that do it the best are the most consistent. But yeah, it's a little hard. You see the 8th spot, and okay, we got a big hole to get out of. But your better players don't think that. And it really is. It's just about a good at bat, solid at bat.
Popped up. Beltran's there, makes the play, and that'll do it. No runs, no hits, no errors, one man left. We go to the third. It's 8-0 Marlins. Collectibles of the season. It's Thurman Munson bobblehead night. It's the second in the 2015 collectible series presented by AT&T. For the first 18,000 guests in attendance, for tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Here's Chris Young against David Phelps. Hammered foul. One and one. Audi A3 scoreboard, 8-0 Miami. All right, now let's look at the other side, Al.
Yes.
You're on the mound. You have an 8-0 lead. Is it hard to pitch the same way that you would if it was 0-0?
If you get behind, yes. Look, David Phelps, and I said in the scout report, Michael, he throws a 4-seamer, 2-seamer, a curveball, a slider, and a changeup, and he uses them, all of them. He really does. So he's got to pitch. And when you're behind, fastball away.
You're saying behind in the count.
When you're behind the count,
right.
Thank you. Then you're more inclined to just start pumping fastballs. And that's where a guy like David Phelps can't, because his average fastball this year is 90.4 miles an hour. So he's not above the speed limit. It's hitting speed. But what he does so well, if Yankee fans remember, he uses any pitch at any time in the count. But you make a good point, because when you're up 8-0 and you fall behind the count, you're 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, All right, well, I don't want to walk him. Just not lay it in there, but here's a fastball. And that's how you see teams, come back, especially the Yankees, who can hit home runs as good as anybody.
Here's Brendan Ryan. One of the best pitchers I ever saw pitching with a big lead was David Wells. He would just pound the zone with his fastball, not throw it right over the middle, but he's here. I've got a lead. I'm not going to mess around.
And the key word you said there was not over the middle. And if you look, Eovaldi, he didn't walk anybody. No. So no walks. You can be wild in the zone. And that's also part of a lack of command. Immediately look, well, if he's wild, how many walks? That doesn't mean you're wild. It means pitches that are hittable. And David, you mentioned it. David Wells was, you talk about dotting the outside corner with a fastball and that big curveball. So good at it. But that was a pitch right there. Brendan Ryan saw a 2-0 fastball down the middle. Now here a little bit away, cuts it.
And it's booted by Dietrich. We'll see how they score that.
I think at the very end, Derek Dietrich, the youngster, has had a good series so far hitting-wise. You have a Daniel Echeverria playing shortstop. Now you're going to know what Drelton Simmons in Atlanta is the marquee shortstop. I love this guy, Echeverria. He's going to win a Gold Glove soon.
It is an E5.
Yeah.
And here's Capuano. And a bunt foul. Now, you might say, well, why is he not pinch hitting for him? Because they're not going to burn everybody out in the bullpen. This is the, let's see, it's the 5th game of 20 in a row. And so they're not going to have Capuano just going inning and a third. They need him to go 5 or 6 innings.
No doubt about it, Michael. And then also, too, if this was a 8-7, 8-6 game and a few more innings down the line, yeah. It is really important that Capuano can go as deep as possible, as you said. Certainly stay away from your go-to guys.
So Ryan leads off first, still bunting, and he bunts it in front of the plate. Throw to second, and the throw gets by at first. So Capuano will go to second. D. Gordon covering at first could not come up with the scoop as they tried to turn that double play.
Well, the bunt didn't get far enough. Echeverria, quick turn, but yanks it. And not a first baseman, D. Gordon, playing one. Couldn't keep it in the field. Advancing Capuano.
So it's a fielder's choice in an E6, allowing Capuano to go to second. If he makes that play, it is a double play. So here's Brett Gardner. There's a strike. Gardner with a fly ball to right in the first inning. And that one gets away from Real Muto as Capuano moves to third.
That was a cross-up for sure. That ball was right down the middle pretty much. Watch this ball here. Runner at second base. He's setting up away and the ball cuts. Or he just clanked it. So he's looking away and he just missed it. That's a pass ball. And
Gardner down looking. So the runner is stranded at third. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the third, 8-0 Marlins. Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment and at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet today. All right, we go to the bottom of the third inning. And on the Audi A3 scoreboard, it is 8-0 Marlins. As Nathan Eovaldi lasted just 2/3 of an inning and gave up all 8 runs. Capuano will start his second full inning of work. Now, Al, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. Okay.
What?
I had a talk with Rich Waltz, who's the play-by-play guy for the Marlins.
Right.
And we decided to make a little trade for the 4th inning. I traded you for Tommy Hutton.
Wait, did you say you hope I don't mind?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Oh, so you're thrilled to not?
No, just 1 inning. That's all.
Well, we'll see if it's a good trade. We'll see if we keep him.
Tommy Hutton, he did my first game in the big leagues.
There he is, yeah.
Hey, Tommy.
He'll be over on this side. It's amazing. On the top level of each booth, there's a Mac computer with that.
The blue, right?
That bluish green color, the Tiffany color.
Is that what that's called?
Wow.
So let's say we've got a big, right? Did I do that right? Yeah.
Now, you think people in Miami will still remember you? You pitched a no-hitter here. You lived here for a while.
Won a World Series.
Won a World Series, yeah.
Didn't take your call, did I?
No, you took Righetti's.
I took 1 call that day. But thanks for calling.
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
1-2. I think I was more nervous watching that than you were probably pitching. Because you can't do anything.
I have a good friend, and he always, to this day, he was there, and he said I couldn't breathe when you were running out there. It was electric. The old stadium full, 70,000 plus. Peeled off every tarp in the outfield at the Dolphin Stadium. Broke Cleveland's heart, Mikey.
They have not won a title since 1964. They'll try to extend the NBA Finals tonight. That's in Cleveland as well. So the count 3-2 on Echeverria. So we'll have Tommy Hutton in the 4th, and Al will move to the Florida side. There's a base hit for Echeverria. travel what, north to get to the old stadium from here?
About 15 miles.
And this is the end.
What a moment. And boy, they had it won, right? The arrow by Tony Fernandez. Hey, look at that. Had the mullet.
They won 2 world championships in '97 and then against the Yankees in 2003. In their short history. There's David Phelps. A throw over, and Phelps showing bunt. Close series in every single way. And you lowered that ERA with your performance in the 7th game. 5.48.
You know, Livan Hernandez was 2-0, and I think his ERA was like almost 6.
There's a bunt. As McCann throws to Ryan, so the sacrifice is 2-4 as Echeverria moves over to second. Let's look at the Jeep hitter scouting report on D. Gordon.
Well, here it is. I love this young man of baseball pedigree. Tom Gordon, remember him? 21 years, 158 saves. He's got a brother, Nick Gordon, who was the 5th overall draft pick by the Minnesota Twins. 6th prospect based on Baseball America. Speed kills. You talk about. He's second in MLB right now with 22 behind Billy Hamilton in Cincinnati. 64 stolen bases last year. He was #1 in all of baseball. And he was drafted as a shortstop.
That one is lined into center field. It is a base hit for Gordon as Echeverria will stop at third.
And I said it was second base and found a home, and he really has. And talking to Perry Hill, who's one of the best infield coaches I've ever been around. He's the infield coach for the Marlins, and just saying how difficult it is for that transition from shortstop to second base for the turns and double plays. There's Perry, longtime baseball man, and he's doing it. 4th rounder in 2008 by the Dodgers. Nice player. You put him with Giancarlo Stanton, it's a nice combination.
Here's Dietrich with runners on 1st and 3rd and 1 out. Marlins 7 for 9 tonight with runners in scoring position. Pitch outside. It's the 3rd inning and Dietrich is 2 for 2 already. (2-0).
Derek Dietrich. Last night he was a one-man wrecking crew against Masahiro Tanaka. He's playing because Martin Prado during the Colorado series rounded first, fell down and hurt his shoulder. There's Martin Prado. And Dietrich getting a chance to play and really hurting the Yankees.
Prado was part of the deal where Evaldi came to the Yankees and Phelps came to the Marlins. There's a strike. And Evaldi will watch this. Probably did what he had to do, ice down, and now he'll sit with his teammates.
I've been there a few times. You go over the report, the plan, and you have such vision of pitching a great game. And we talked about the trade, coming back to a team he was with, and to say frustrating is not even close for how he feels right now.
Well, they always say being a pitcher is the best job if you pitch well. But when you have an outing like this, it's an awful job because you don't get on the mound again for a while. 3-1 on Dietrich. 2/3 of an inning, 9 hits, 8 runs. That's not going to help your ERA.
No, that's the farthest thing he's worried about now.
Or your confidence.
Yeah, more of that.
And a walk to load the bases, and that'll bring up Yelich. Yankees back for the double play with one out here in the bottom of the third. And a strike to Yelich. Oh, and 2.
They got a chance. I know it looks troublesome right here with the Stanton looming. With Capuano ahead in the count, he's got a chance at good breaking ball. He's got a good curveball. Yelich, lefty on lefty, is not good against either the curveball or slider. Actually, any off speed, something down and away. See if he throws a little breaking ball going down and away. Nope. Not many at bats, but this year, left-handed pitchers. Christian Yelich at 292, 7 for 24 on a fastball. Curveball, he's 0 for 3. Slider 0 for 5, and a changeup 1 for 5. Not much body of work, 0 for 5s, but they look at that. Changeup.
And CB Buckner said he did not go. 8-11-2 for the Marlins, 0-1-0 for the Yanks. We are in the bottom of the third inning at Marlins Park. One-two. Swing and a miss. Got him. 2 away.
The pitch, there's that curveball. It's been a good pitch for Capuano. Guy's got to be on the corners. Now he's 0 for 4 this year. Yelich is against curveballs. Now he's got to deal with Giancarlo Stanton.
Stanton's 1 for 2 tonight, and he has the bases loaded. Popped up. Teixeira will make the play, and Capuano works out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, and the bases left loaded. 4th inning coming up. It's time to swap analysts. Bye, Al. Coming in, Tommy Hutton. This should be fun. booth, and boy, did we win this deal. We get the great Tommy Hutton in our booth. Now, you guys put up a big Marlin logo there, but Meredith Marakovich says that's impossible. We cannot block her. So we welcome you to the booth.
We're happy to be here. I just hope I can use Al's highlighter.
You know what? It might not be enough ink left.
I think, Michael, this is the ideal game to do this, too.
Yes, it'd be ideal game if we could both juggle knives.
Yeah.
But 8-0 Marlins, and you see it on the Lincoln scoreboard. 11 hits for the Marlins, 1 for the Yankees. Now, Tommy, you knew Nathan Eovaldi here, and this is a guy with a great fastball, but gives up a lot of hits, and he struggled in that first inning.
I thought what was really interesting in that first inning, because I know he's been working on that changeup, that split grip, and he got hurt with it a few times. It, to me, almost appeared that it was a spring training game, that he was working on that pitch and didn't go with his fastball a lot, because Dietrich hit it a couple of times. It's a pitch that he needs to be successful, though, at this level, without question.
He really does, and you could see he wasn't throwing any of his secondary pitches for strikes. And even if you throw 99 miles an hour, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
People
he got
will turn
hurt,
it around.
got hurt with his slider a little bit. A tough out. He's such a good kid. He's got great stuff, but he has to get those secondary pitches.
Here's Mark Teixeira, tapped back to the mound in the first inning, and he fouls it back. So what are your thoughts on Phelps so far?
Well, on the other hand, you have David Phelps, who's coming off his best start of the year. He threw 8 innings against the Rockies, a career high. He, I think, is the perfect type pitcher for this kind of game. You know, to keep with his game plan. He's a smart guy. He throws strikes. He's not going to walk hitters and all of a sudden open things up for a big inning.
1-1 count on Teixeira. 6-game hitting streak for Mark. It leaves the Yankees with 18 home runs and 48 runs batted in. 8-0 Marlins. Phelps deals. Why are the Marlins struggling? I mean, you look at the talent. The talent's there. They made so many moves, and you know, they're trying to climb back to 500.
There are a few reasons. Number one, right now, 3 pitchers, 3 of their starters are on the disabled list. Jose Fernandez coming back in early July. Henderson Alvarez, Jared Kozart, and Matt Latos just came back the other day, so he pitched a good game. They need him. Michael Morse, who was signed in the offseason, big right-handed bat who helped the Giants last year to their World Series, and they signed him to back up Stanton in the lineup, and he's on the disabled list.
High fly ball to Stanton as he moves toward the line. 2 outs.
Michael, how do the guys like Marlins Park? You talk to many of the players?
They like it a lot. It's a great park. It plays big for hitters, but pitchers would love it. I guess Eovaldi doesn't like it today.
No, we'll go to cozier digs tomorrow night and then Thursday night.
I think Stanton will like Yankee Stadium. That's my guess. Now, Yankee fans know Tommy Hutton, obviously, because Tommy was a Yankee broadcaster with Hank Greenwald
a long time
on
ago.
The radio side, 87 and 80. 87 and 88. And there's his playing resume.
There you go.
Now, the numbers against Seaver make me wonder, does Tom send you Christmas cards?
No, he doesn't. You know, just one of those crazy things. If I had hit everybody else like that, I'd have been in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, it must be a great thing. You owned a Hall of Fame pitcher, one of the great pitchers of all time.
It's a nice little, piece of the resume, yeah.
That one's hit deep to right center off the bat of McCann, but right there.
Not here, though.
No, that might have been out in the Bronx. We'll be in the Bronx tomorrow, but Tommy Hutton will be with us in the bottom of the 4th inning. The trade continues to benefit us. and the Yankees nothing. We have made a booth swap for the 4th inning where Rich Waltz gets custody of Al Leiter, and he doesn't know what he's getting into, Tommy. And we have Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, Michael, certainly not a Fritz Peterson, Mike Kekich swap. He's trying to throw. I think M&M's over here,
and he still has bad command. Here's Ozuna against Capuano to lead off the bottom of the 4th. It's all Marlins, 8-0. They scored those runs in the 1st inning, and that one is laced into right center field. It's a base hit. Nice play by Gardner to cut it off, and Ozuna on base for the 3rd time.
It's one of the things that outfielders really have to do here. You have to have speed here in the outfield, because if balls get through to the gaps, they're at least doubles, and if you have any kind of speed as a runner, it's a triple. So good play by Gardner, who has speed out there to cut that ball off.
Now, I know the roof's only been open 4 times so far this year. Does the ball travel better with the roof open or closed?
It really depends on how the wind's swirling.
Okay.
Because they also open those rolling windows out above the Budweiser sign. And if the wind kind of swirls around, it takes off pretty good.
Here's Justin Bour. And there's a strike. Do they ever open the roof and keep the rolling windows closed?
No. They've done the other. They've opened the rolling windows while the roof was closed, yes. You know, it gets hot and humid. South Florida, this time of year, people want to come in here and be comfortable.
The 0-1. Tommy, what kind of guy is Stanton? I mean, we see the power, we see all the highlight, we see the 470-foot home runs. What type of teammate is he?
You know, when he made the commitment to sign the big contract, the 13 years, he can get out after 6 if he chooses. I think he saw an opportunity to, he's a quiet guy. I kind of compare him to an Andre Dawson, who I played with in Montreal. He's quiet, but he can really lead by what he does, and I think he's really enjoyed doing that and taking that role.
The 0-2.
I think he was a big part of taking that role when the Marlins made the managerial change and brought in Dan Jennings out of the front office. It wasn't real comfortable for a week or so, and I think he wanted to make sure, hey, this guy's come down, he's going to take care of this team right here, and he was a big part of that.
Runner on first, nobody out. Bottom of the 4th inning. 8-0 Marlins. Capuano deals. Grounded sharply to Ryan. He's going to take the out at first as Ozuna moves to second. Now, does his wallet give him that respect, or the fact that he's so talented?
Just he's so talented. He's so talented. And, you know, we have the opportunity to see him every day. So we see the defense that he plays in right field. We can't believe that Nori Aoki has taken over the lead in the outfield ahead of him, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, I think the reason is Aoki played for the Royals last year.
That's right.
So there's Royal spillover.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Here's Real Muto, who is 1 for 2 tonight. Runner at second base, 1 man out. Popped up right side, and that'll make the seats. You mentioned the managerial change, which a lot of people in baseball kind of raise their eyebrows. You're bringing a guy who has never been in uniform other than high school. How's that played out?
Well, it took a while, to be honest. I think it took the entire roster a little while to get adjusted to it, to get adjusted seeing him in a uniform and not with a coat and tie. But Marlins ownership felt that was the best way to go, and I think Dan Jennings is getting used to the role. I really haven't seen him in any games outmanaged yet. So far, so good. The ball club's actually 12-15 since he took over.
And they're not out of it. No one's running away with it.
No way. The Nationals, the Braves, the Mets, they're all just kind of hanging in there.
1-1. Line to left field. Coming on Young. He'll make the play for the second out.
Well, he's always been a good outfielder. Saw him a lot when he was with Arizona.
Did Redmond do a bad job, Tommy, or was he just a victim of all these injuries that you talked about?
I think he was just a victim. I think Mike Redmond's a terrific baseball guy. It's the old, they wanted to get a different voice in there. And, you know, but Mike Redmond will surface somewhere, be it as a coach, bench coach, manager somewhere, but a good baseball man.
Here's Echeverria. He is 2 for 2 tonight.
This is a guy that doesn't get the national acclaim that he should. Danny Echeverria.
I mean, you talk about Simmons in Atlanta. He made 2 plays yesterday that rank up there with anything Simmons.
And he does that, and he's hitting over 300 this year.
Capuano deals. Take a look at some of those plays yesterday, Tommy.
Yeah, he has range. We see him go to his right, we go to his left. Ask Headley about the range that Echeverria has. I think he hit both of these balls. One to his right, one he leaped up. I think we all want to see Echeverria and D. Gordon in a dunking contest. D. Gordon, an outstanding high school basketball player.
Marlins with 12 hits, Yankees just 1.
You would expect with a different ballpark, the games with the DH. Hey, there's the D. Gordon dunk. You expect the games to be a little bit different up in the Bronx. DH, different ballpark.
Who's going to be the DH for the Marlins?
Well, what they did in Toronto, you'll see Ichiro both games.
Okay.
He'll either DH one game, play right field, maybe let Stanton DH one game, but Ichiro will play both those games.
How's Ichiro been here?
Oh, Ichiro is fantastic. I say that, but then Sabathia is throwing the second game. Maybe not the second game.
Okay.
But Ichiro's been outstanding. The players love him. The players absolutely love being around him.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at second. Time is called. We're talking with Tommy Hutton. We made what we think is a great trade. Leiter for Hutton. Al's on the Miami side. When's the last time you were back in the Bronx?
It's been a while. I've not seen the new ballpark.
Oh, really?
I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
So at least since 2009.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Every time we go to New York now, we go to Queens.
Right. Capuano at 57 pitches in relief, taking one for the team right here. 3-2, swing and a miss, and that'll do it. Tommy, please stay, please.
Now I gotta go get out.
I've got to get.
I gotta go rescue Rich Waltz, my partner.
Rescue's the operative word. Thanks. That's Tommy Hunt coming up with the 5th inning. 8-0, top of the 5th inning here at Marlins Park. We have some breaking news. Rich Waltz, the play-by-play man for the Marlins, has decided to leave the business after an inning with Al, and Al rejoins us here.
Why is that always so funny for you? Although I enjoyed Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Tommy.
I know you did. So had all my peeps on. You want Tommy Hutton over here? Tommy, pinch hitter.
So you had people in New York and New Jersey spying on what I said.
They were.
Really?
They said I thought Michael was your friend. I said I think he is.
Tell them it's 8-0.
Well, it's definitely a different perspective, right? You got a game that's lopsided.
Big OT scoreboard tells you how lopsided it is. 8-0. Headley fouls it back. 2-2.
Well, I guess the talk of you looking at the trade. Obviously, Phelps had outpitched Evaldi, saying the least.
High fly ball, center field. Ozuna makes the play. Now, Marlins TV wanted to trade studio analysts. We said, no. Our host is the best. So, Bob, we want you. We want you to say something to us. Well, thank you, Bob. As Carlos Beltran lines one into the right field corner, Stanton flips the ball in, and Beltran has the Yankees' second hit. It's a double.
Well, the Yankees in about a week's time saw the up-and-coming superstars of the game with Trout, Harper, and now Stanton. Impressive young players. I think the game is in good hands with athletes.
I see more guys getting called up. Buxton, Correa.
Yeah.
You're seeing the top minor league players being called up.
We already saw Chris Bryant, the Cubs. And
Young takes outside.
it's exciting, right? We had a chance to talk to Rob Manfred during the National Series, and the athletes that are starting to fill the big league stadiums.
Fly ball left center. Yelich, a Gold Glover, puts it away for the second out. Now, all kidding aside, do you realize how Tommy Hutton has mirrored your career? He was with the Yankees in '87, '88. You were. Then he went to Toronto, and you went to Toronto. And then he went to the Marlins, and you went to the Marlins.
2 years after, right? Yeah. 2 years after I left the Blue Jays, he came down to the Marlins. How about that? He's been here since '98.
He's been here a long time. Yeah. He's a really good guy.
He is. Great guy. Long drive. You know where he's driving from up in Jupiter down here
every day. Really?
Yeah.
What is that, an hour and a half?
Yeah. I mean, with traffic, it's an hour and a half for sure.
Fly ball, right center. Ozuna makes a play, and the Yankees still have not put a run on the board. No runs a hit. One man left. 4.5. We're halfway through. It's 8-0 Marlins. taking off because tomorrow night this Interleague Showdown shifts to the Bronx as the Yankees and the Marlins begin the second half of this home and home series. Coverage starts at 6 with Audi batting practice today and Tri-State 4 pregame only on Yes. David Phelps against Capuano, and the first pitch is fouled back. Bigelow T scoreboard 8-0 Al. Capuano's doing his job.
Oh boy, isn't he ever, right? You come in a game like this and all you're trying to do is quick innings, keep the pitch count down if you can, and get some outs and save the bullpen. And he's done that so far. Changing speeds, that's Chris Capuano's MO now. Not going to overpower guys. Assortment of off-speed pitches, locates well.
And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on Phelps. One away here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So here's D. Gordon adding to his hit total 2 more. 95 on the season. That's best in the major leagues. He also has 13 3 or more hit games. That's best in the major leagues. He has 27 multi-hit games, and that's best in the National League. He's having some season. But when you read the analytics on him, Al, they say it's going to turn because his batting average on balls put in play much higher than it should be and what the norm is. And they think that the worm will turn and those balls will not fall in.
Well, it's interesting you say that, but is that based on what? An average major leaguer? A guy that can steal 62 bags?
That's a good point.
You know, so, you know, his speed, you could say that about Ichiro Suzuki when he came up. How many hits did Ichiro have by banging the ball to the left side of the infield? So I don't know about that metric, and I know that it's out there, the Babbitt. But he's going to outrun some slow rollers in the infield. So that's got to affect balls put in play.
I guess they also look past performance for him, and his Babbitt has never been as high as it is this year.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you guys are different as they get older. I can tell you this: the Marlins absolutely love him, as they should. And here's a guy that was basically given away because the Dodgers wanted to change their middle infield, bring in Jimmy Rollins and Howie Kendrick. D. Gordon along with Dan Herron. There was a big price tag with Dan Herron, who basically was a 5th starter, who's been the most consistent starter for the Marlins while they're waiting for Jose Fernandez. And Matt Latos was not good in the beginning. There's Danny Herron. Considered retiring. Ended up being the most consistent starter for the Marlins so far this year.
Grounded up the middle and a 3-hit game for D. Gordon.
Well, on his pace now with the 3 hits, you can increase him. He was on pace starting this game. 129 hits by the All-Star break, which would break the club record by Juan Pierre, who had 117. I just think you know, when you have a lineup, you know, you put it together and you construct it based on different elements of how a team could beat you. And yeah, everybody loves the long home runs, absolutely. But you get a guy like a D. Gordon, and he could play defense, steal some bases. That's a good component to a lineup. I think of the teams that I was on that won, you always had a really good leadoff guy.
There's a strike. And for the Marlins, I mean, what a home run for them. They're not paying D. Gordon's salary. The Dodgers are. That's how much the Dodgers wanted to change their middle infield. I think when the trade was made, the Marlins thought that Herron would retire because he makes some decent money too.
He gets 10 or 11.
Yeah, so he decided not to. Really did not want to leave LA.
The good thing for the Marlins is 6-3 with a 3.2 ERA. There's a close pitch right there. Chris Capuano looked like he wanted it. Dave Morales, home plate umpires, pretty tight both sides.
See Chris Martin getting ready for the Yankees. Two and two.
You see the lead from D. Gordon, and that's the we're up by 8, and I'm not running. That's just the gamesmanship, I guess, if you will, of the team that's looks like it's an insurmountable lead, and some people would question as to whether, you know, why stop your type of baseball if this is what this guy does, and he is a base stealer.
Capuano will lead off the 6th inning, so the Yankees will pinch hit for him. That's why Martin is up. The 2-2. Still 2-2 on Dietrich.
Now, that's why you look at the baseball, Michael, and you know it really is. I know baseball fans, when they listen to this, you know, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It really is, and I think with parity in baseball, it's becoming even more apparent of teams that are in it. You look at the records, Michael. You look at the AL East. I mean, outside of it, and I'm still not going to rule them out, but the Red Sox being 9 games out, everybody else is absolutely in it. You go to the AL Central. Detroit's 3 back. Cleveland even 7. I would probably say they're probably still in it. The AL West, the Angels only 4.5. Texas and Houston.
Two. Swing and a miss. Dietrich down on strikes, retired for the first time tonight. 2-way. And that's going to bring up Yelich.
You know, just looking at that pitch right there from Chris Capuano, you talk about like stuff is equated with swing and miss. Chris Capuano, that's his 11th swing and miss. Throwing 89. But you change speeds, you show 2 types of breaking ball. That's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, blowing it by a good young hitter, Derek Dietrich, who can hit fastballs. So it's how you set it up. You know, first pitch slow curveball, 81. Now you get a young hitter thinking, Christian Yelich, he's saying, oh, you're going to get me out the breaking ball. Sneak an 89-mile-an-hour fastball by you. That to me is fun when you watch a good pitcher using all of his pitches, locating and changing speeds.
The 0-1. Gets the fastball at 90.
Yeah, and I got a chance to play with one of the best. He's in the Hall of Fame now, Tommy Glavine. You know, he, especially at the end of his career, he wasn't blowing it by guys. Even at the beginning of my career, when Tommy John, I got a chance to pitch with Tommy John, who did not throw hard much of his career. Mike, you know Tommy John is a player, right?
And not a surgery.
And not a surgery.
Yes. Hey, Greg Maddux wasn't about throwing hard.
Well, that's true. You know, Greg, I mean, when he came on with the Cubs, he touched 94, but he became a master at locating, changing speeds. Best I've ever seen, really, consistently. The year in, year out, and the numbers you look at what Greg Maddux did in Atlanta, of not overpowering.
Jimmy Key.
Jimmy Key was great. I got a chance to play with Jimmy as well.
Stanton's on deck.
Well, he wants to get him right here.
Well, now he's got to face Giancarlo Stanton with runners on first and second and 2 outs. So it looks like Girardi is going to do a double switch here. 77 pitches for Capuano. And there'll be somebody that comes off the field. Looks like they're calling in Chris Young, but we'll give you all the details of the Yankees double switch as Chris Martin will come on to face Giancarlo Stanton with the Yankees trailing 8-0. the bat of Alex Rodriguez. And that's the third longest, and that was in St. Pete at the Trop. Then in Coors Field, Jock Peterson of the Dodgers. He drives for 480 feet. And then Stanton says, well, let me do a little better than that. Thin air, Coors Field, strong, 484 feet. And that's the longest home run, distance-wise, this year in baseball. So I'm sure that Chris Martin can be thinking about that as he warms up. And will face Stanton with runners on first and second and 2 outs. Good job by Capuano keeping it right at 8-0. That's where it was when he came in, as Nathan Eovaldi got hammered. Lasted just 2/3 of an inning. Martin spent some time on the DL. 16 games. About a strikeout per inning. 16 hits in 13 2/3. And 3 walks. Garrett Jones takes over in left field, and he will bat 9th. And Martin will bat in Young's vacated spot, which is the 7th spot in the line. So an intimidating figure standing in the batter's box as Martin gets a sign from McCann. And there's a strike. During the break, with a right-hander coming in, Stanton had to switch helmets. He does not use the guard against the left-hander, but he does against the right-hander after getting hit in the face toward the end of last year.
Yeah, by the Brewers pitcher Mike Fiers. And the reason for that, to stay in there as a right-handed batter with a right-handed pitcher for the breaking ball that's going away, he's got to kind of stay here and dive a little bit because the breaking ball is going to do that. And is susceptible to a pitcher that's going to come up and in. You hit in the face, I'm sure there's some trepidation on his part. There's a pitch inside.
A lot of people in baseball thought it was a little bit of a gamble. There was no urgency to give him that 13-year contract during the offseason. You didn't know how he would react. Some players are never the same after getting hit by a pitch. And Jeffrey Loria said, I believe he can do it. And he's proven him right. 1-1. Comes inside. And the crowd knows the history of Stanton getting hit, so a lot of oohs and ahs.
Hitters don't mind down there. It's when you get up near the neck or head, that's where hitters get upset.
Driven out to right field and deep. Beltran back, turning, looking. See off the facing of the second deck the other way. It's a 3-run home run for Stanton. It's an 11-0 Marlins lead. A major league leading 24th home run. And again, extraordinary power out the other way.
He just makes ballparks look so small. There's a hanging slider from Chris Martin. And he stays on it after 2 fastballs in. Watch the location here. Middle. And that is a strong man right there. Just stays on it, barrels it up. Hits the upper deck facing. 61 RBIs on the season.
Here's Ozuna.
He's on a. You see the grip out of Martin, a slider, and that's just a spinner in the middle of the plate. Somebody as good as Stanton, as strong as he is. Impressive.
One and one.
He's on a heck of a pace. Giancarlo with the 24th home run. He's on pace for almost 60 home runs on the season. Good looking player.
Two and one. 11-0 Miami. We're in the bottom of the 5th. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 3 runs in here in the bottom of the 5th. Now 3-2. Squibbed out to second. Ryan's there, and that'll do it. But 3 runs on 3 hits. A 3-run home run off the bat of that man, Giancarlo Stanton. He goes the other way. Hits it off the facing of the second deck and right. That's his major league leading 24th home run. Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. Some great shots on Yesmo. Little bat vibration there. And even in Yesmo, that's still going. All right, Garrett Jones will lead off against David Phelps, who's having a dream night for a pitcher. Early lead and giving up just 2 hits. Jones first at bat. Pitch outside. Right into the teeth of the shift in short right field. Gordon gets Jones for the first out. That'll bring up Gardner. Now, we saw this ballpark play small for Stanton just then. But I've heard rumblings here, Al, that they might move in the fences. I mean, they have such an investment in Stanton, who can hit a ball out anywhere, but don't you want him to hit 70 rather than 60?
Right.
And there's a perfect site for them to close it up a bit, where the piece of artwork in left center field, and it kind of rolls out. Right. They can cut center field to about 408. And I think they're considering that, and also considering lowering the fence a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's unusually far, right? I mean, if anything, the newer stadium's got a little bit cozier and shorter, and the decision by the Marlins ownership clearly wanted to have some more room. But I don't think there would be, even a pitching staff, of course you'd want a lot of space, but you know, what are they talking about, bringing it to 405?
Maybe 408, something like that. If you just cut it straight across from the scoreboard to maybe the Stanley sign.
You know, the thing with Stanton is, and I would like to see his chart of fly balls to the warning track, because it seems to me, and I know, you know, when I'm watching highlights, he hits it. It's going out of Yellowstone. Right. He's not doing wall burners. But you know what it would do? It would also attract, you know, free agent hitters that come in, you know, that aren't as strong as that young man there.
You know, we saw the debate with Citi Field. They've moved the fences in twice now since it was built. And Gardner down looking. Does not like that call. And I think the Mets moved it in because it directly affected the guy that had the most money invested in, and that's David Wright.
Absolutely.
Took away his power in right center.
Well, I mean, I think of some of the stadiums that were built, and in particular one in the NL East and Citizens Bank in Philadelphia. I mean, that's a short stadium. You go to Cincinnati and some of these places, the Crawford Box in Houston. I mean, there's some short stadiums, fields.
Fly ball the other way, out of play, and right field in Yankee Stadium is very reachable.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the rest of the ballpark plays bigger, and I think that pitchers take that if there's some place to pitch to. In Citizens Bank, there's really no place to pitch to for a pitcher. There's no forgiving spot.
It's a good point. Yeah, right. I think about the late Catfish Hunter when he used to come down to spring training, and I remember him saying about his little cutter that he used to throw to right-handers and just allow the bigger part of the ball field to get outs. And he used to talk about that. About that little Catfish would throw a little cutter away to a right-hander. They think they had it. You know, center, left center. It's a long way to go.
That's what you have at Fenway Park. If you can have them hit the ball to right center, that's the pitcher's part of the park. The 1-2.
Well, leaving the old stadium, and I enjoyed pitching at Pro Player, what was Pro Player when I was with the Marlins and then became Dolphin Stadium. I don't know what the names are now. Yeah, they had the big teal wall in left field, but you go to center and right center at the old stadium, the football stadium north of here, it was a poke. So you had some forgiving spots.
1-2. Fly ball, right center, and that's going to find grass for a base hit. So Gregorius with a 2-out single. And that's the Yankees' third hit of the night. Here's Mark Teixeira. He's 0 for 2 tonight. He has a 6-game hitting streak working. This is the Yankees' 37th road game of the year, and they've played 27 home games. I was talking to Joe Girardi about it the other day. He said, you know what? It seems like we're on the road all the time. Brett Gardner said, I know it evens out, but when you're in the middle of it and you play 10 more road games, I mean, the road trips seem like they just keep coming fast and furious. But when the Yankees get home tomorrow, they'll be home for a while, I think about a week and a half. And it does all even out. That means you can have more home games down the stretch. And so far, you know, the old adage, Al, is play 500 on the road, and then you beat up on people at home. The Yankees are 18-18 on the road, 16-11 at home.
You said it. You know, just as you were saying that, I was looking at the home and away splits for a team that has struggled, and they're finally seems like they're getting it together. The Marlins on the road, Michael, 12-20. At home, they were 1 game under 500. You're right. If you could keep your road record right close to around 500, because most teams like playing at home, winning teams.
and you go 50 and 30, 50 and 31 at home, you're okay. The 2-2. That's going to release Gregorius at first as Bohr backs up. 11-0 Marlins. So Didi will go. And a foul ball.
Shara battling. I know 11-0, but he's fighting off pitchers' pitches. Just keeps spoiling it. And Phelps in the mode, up by 11. I know he's got a hitter up at bat. He's having a good year, 18 home runs. Be the 9th pitch of the at bat.
And now it'll be 10. Didi's getting his running in. And Teixeira works a walk. That's what the good hitters always say. A guy like Paul O'Neill and Wade Boggs, and we'll see both of them Old Timers Day on Saturday. You never give away an at bat. If you're down 11-0, you just can't, because you get yourself out of the things that you do well. You've got to battle as if it's a 1-1 game in the 9th inning.
Yeah. And those are your 300 hitters. Those are the guys that get over the course of 500 plus at bats. How many of the guys can honestly admit to that, what you just said, that they didn't throw away at bats? I used to hear it often. Guys just, what was I thinking? I just got up there, didn't have a plan, flail at the first pitch. Roll over one, ground ball.
A guy like Boggs could be 4 for 4. He comes up in the 9th inning. He's not giving that at bat away.
That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
1-0. There's a strike to McCann, 1-1.
And you knew that. I knew that as a pitcher. Who were the guys that just were grinding it? Didn't matter in this game. This is a mental, tough game to stay in it. I know it's they're getting paid to play baseball. There's an element of fatigue, but to stay in it mentally, right here, 1-1 count, whatever the plan is, get a pitch.
There's a strike, 1-2 to McCann. Also, you could end the season hitting .299 and you gave it a bat away. You could have 99 ribbies, you gave it a bat away.
Isn't that what Mickey Mantle said in a few interviews when he retired about some of the at-bats he gave away, and he just missed being a 300 lifetime hitter?
He ended at .298 and he said he hung on too long. The last couple of years he just wasn't the same player. Hit sharply and past to diving Gordon into right field. So the Yankees are on the board as Gregorius scores. It's an RBI single for McCann. 11-1 Marlins.
Well, Teixeira had a great at bat, and here as well. Brian McCann, low cutter inside. Sharply hit past Justin Bohr, the first baseman, and also D. Gordon. Battle, grind out at bats. Watch him slightly around it. David Phelps watch that ball just cut down and in. Good job of hit by Brian McCann.
And a strike to Headley. Yankees 1 for 4 tonight. Runners in scoring position, and Miami is 8 for 14. A lot of Yankee fans here in these two games, and they finally have something to cheer about. Last night's crowd of 33,961 was the second largest crowd of the year at Marlins Park after opening day. And this one looks like it's close. You see that stat from the Elias Sports Bureau. He hits his battery mates, former battery mates well, 277, 18 for 65, 2 home runs. Did it bother you facing former catchers, Al?
It did. Todd Pratt had great numbers against me, and there's just the whole thing of he knows exactly what I throw, when I like to throw it, how it moves.
Fly ball. Shallow right. Stanton is there, and that'll do it. But the Yankees get on the board. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. Well, they're enjoying themselves on South Beach. Yankees are trying to make something of this night. They're down 11-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. We start with this. How much do you think the Astros' long-term plan has been influenced by the way their GM learned while he was with the Cardinals? And Eddie YN 26 lots. The Cardinals taught him how to be a good GM, and now the Astros are a first-place team. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Camry Hybrid to keep the conversation going. Now, Al, you know the story.
Yep.
That the New York Times broke today, that the FBI is investigating the St. Louis Cardinals possibly hacking into the system of the Houston Astros. Astros GM Jeff Luhnow used to be part of the Cardinals front office. Boy, if that really did happen, that would be a terrible scandal for baseball.
Well, we're going to have to obviously wait and see how the investigation plays out, but I agree with you. I mean, the fact that they're investigating, get the FBI involved. Jeff Lunau, you talk about a bright man, a University of Pennsylvania grad, was hired in 2003 to help with the scouting department and wanted Bill DeWitt, the owner, wanted a more analytical, data-driven front office, which is where they're going, because Jeff Lunau is kind of the poster child for sabermetrics now. So the work that he did in the scouting department with the Cardinals obviously gave him the credibility to be hired as the general manager of the Astros, and he's done a great job. You talk about with their drafts and where they are right now. Who would have thought that the Houston Astros would be in first place so quickly, I say. I mean, they've had some great drafts because of where they were.
See, Murphy takes over behind the plate. McCann at first. You read so many things about this situation, that Lunau was not as liked as you would want to be by some of his underlings with the Cardinals, and he didn't change his passwords, the same ones that he had with St. Louis. And again, it's all being investigated, but not by baseball. It's being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigations, which, I mean, you're going to jail if they find stuff. Forget about punishment by Rob Manfred. You're going to jail.
Absolutely.
Ground ball. Headley. Now Meredith has more from the Yankee perspective. Meredith?
Well, Michael, General Manager Brian Cashman is actually here in Miami, and he was asked about this situation earlier today, and he said the organization feels very secure, but when you look at what happened to Houston, calling them very intelligent people in their own right, saying that they added some more security measures because of that. They spent some more time, some more money to further protect what they believe is privileged. He said it's more inconvenient for them now to access some of their information, but they looked where there might be potential vulnerabilities and made some adjustments, spent a little bit more money to upgrade the overall process. So the Yankees right now not concerned, but definitely looked at it and made some changes into their system.
Well, it's interesting, Al. I mean, countries now are worried about this, and you saw what happened with the Sony hacking scandal. I mean, there are countries trying to hack into other countries' security systems and banking systems, so I'm sure that this isn't the same level of security. And Lunau made a comment today that after he found out the FBI was investigating, he started writing stuff rather than putting it in computers.
Well, I mean, this is where we are, right? 2015, the dependency on computers and internet, the security aspect of our life has to be looked at. And a concern of level of, you know, am I doing the right things to protect what I want to protect?
It just seems, I mean, with countries, I mean, national security, things like that, obviously so important. I mean, people's lives hang in the balance, but you would think that somebody in a baseball front office would be smart enough not to do something like that. But so much is at stake now. There's so much money at stake. It's such a big business. You want to succeed. You want to move up.
Get an edge.
But that's the wrong way to do it.
Oh, yeah, no. But I'm thinking, as you say that, you know, there's even, you know, scouts that come into certain stadiums to watch batting practice.
Yep.
You know, times in which scouts are allowed to watch, and, you know, I mean, forget about the NFL, right? There are scandals of what went on with the Patriots and all of that.
Popped up, right side. McCann gives it a look, and it's out of play. Now, you know, people are saying, well, if the highest level of the Cardinals are involved, well, then the punishment's going to be higher, at least from baseball. But there's some things that baseball can't do that other leagues can. You can't just take away draft picks in baseball. The Players Association's involved. You can't say you can't play in the postseason. The Players Association has to sign off on that. So that leaves Rob Manfred not as much wiggle room as other commissioners might have.
Well, you said it when you started this. This is criminal. You got the FBI involved. So I think that would be the last thing that they'd be worried about right now when you got the FBI investigating.
Yankees also have a new center fielder. Mason Williams takes over from Gardner. as Girardi giving Teixeira and Gardner the rest of the night off. The 3-2. Fly ball, right center. Beltran makes the play for the second out. Thursday, in American tradition, comes to Fox, and Fox Sports 1 for the first time as the greatest golfers in the world converge on the Pacific Northwest for a chance to stamp their names in the history books. Fox's exclusive coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins this Thursday on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I talked to Joe Buck today on the radio show, and he's anxious, he said. So many people are going to be looking. He's doing golf for the first time. Fox is doing golf for the first time. It's such a big event, so a lot of eyeballs will be on this, and it's the U.S. Open, so pretty cool.
Buck's nervous about it, huh?
He didn't say nervous. He said just an anxiousness. He said there's a very thin line between anxious and nervous.
I was looking at that hole right there. I'm thinking, how many shots would it take for you to get out of that sand? It was like a nonstop bunker.
Grounded to third. Headley, Fields, fires, and they get Echeverria for the final out. We have played 6 here in Miami. The Yankees trail the Marlins by an 11-1 score.
Game changer. Yes, it was the first inning. Nathan Eovaldi had a start that he wished he would never do again. And remember, after getting the first batter out, this became consecutive single after single until Adeiny Echeverria right here hits a triple. And then Gordon gets a single, and Derek Dietrich ends the day for Eovaldi. Nightmare of an inning, 2/3, 9 hits, 8 runs. That is your T-Mobile game changer.
And on the other side, David Phelps against his former team. He was drafted by the Yankees, came up through their system, enjoying an 11-1 lead as we go to the 7th. There's Beltran. How long does it take a pitcher to get over? Will Eovaldi have a hard time sleeping tonight?
Absolutely, 100%. He's going to go over it and wonder why, and there's going to be a lot of, woe is me, and upset, mad, angry, all of that. And the only way I can answer that, Michael, is it depends on where you are in your career, how secure you are in realizing that, unfortunately, a game like tonight happens. Beltran getting locked up there. He didn't like it. Well, unless he thought it was down, because I thought that absolutely had plate coverage. Giving Gabe Morales, home plate umpire, an earful. Let's see here. He sets up in.
It's like a strike.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, that's what David Phelps does so well. That two-seam comeback fastball. He did it earlier in the game to Brett Gardner.
Stephen Drew is going to pinch hit for Chris Martin.
I mean, to answer, Michael, I was able to handle really bad starts like that was based on, you know, me being in the big leagues longer. If you're a younger guy, you're really not sure of, you know, what you're all about. It could take a couple days, at least until your side day, which will be in 2 days. But Nathan Eovaldi just didn't have a chance. You know, every guy, and they were quick too. He had 2 pitch, 1 pitch, 2 pitch. These are the hits: 2 pitch, 2 pitch. So of all those hits that he gave up in the first inning, Mike, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them, of the 9, were on either 1 or 2 pitches. Like, what are you working? Where are you going? First pitch fastball, throw, slider, base hit. Next guy, same thing. Stanton. I mean, you remember the little chopper, and a CNI hit. Ozuna went the other way. I know it's part of the game.
Stephen Drew works a walk as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, so you look. I'm looking at this. If this is me, I'm saying, okay, what am I working on? Definitely, I think his split finger was inconsistent. It's really a forkball. I keep saying split. We had some great shots of him really jamming in on the baseball. Left a couple, spun a few sliders middle of the plate. It's a command issue. You know, he was behind and missed him with his fastball. I think you got to change the page. Forget about it.
Brendan Ryan pops it up. That's out of play. A lot of blowouts in baseball. Baltimore 17-3 over Philly, bottom of the 6th. Washington 13-1 over Tampa Bay, bottom of the 7th. Here it's 11-1. Marlins lead. Yankees have managed 4 hits against Phelps. Drew leads off first. Bohr plays behind him. Strike 3. Ryan down looking.
You got another batter that's upset with home plate umpire Gabe Morales. This ball was inside corner. Again, the late movement of David Phelps. Let's take a look here. Too close to take. I think that's, well, that's a good shot right there. Boy, that's pain. It's a good pitch.
There's a strike to Garrett Jones. And there's a base hit into left center field. Drew goes to third. Jones stays at first with a single. Yankees 5th hit, first and third with 2 men out. And that'll bring up Mason Williams.
Marlins pitching coach Chuck Hernandez calling down the bullpen.
Kind of been a stress-free day for him. Cishek up, former closer here, lost his job, was sent down. Not fun for any righties. This is Mason Williams' first at bat of the night. Took over in center for Brett Gardner, who had an 0 for 3 night. Mason's 1 hit in the big leagues, a home run. 1 for 11. And that one is laced down the left field line. It is a base hit. It'll go into the corner. Drew scores. And they're going to hold Jones up at third. It's an RBI double for Mason Williams. And the Marlins now lead the Yankees 11-2.
Mason Williams keeping that ball fair. His first big league home run in Baltimore. Now a second hit, RBI.
And here's Chuck Hernandez. So this is a little bit of a stall as Cishek just began to warm up. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Phelps might be running out of gas here with 105 out of the tank, and that's how it breaks down with a 33-pitch sixth inning. Otherwise been very economical inning by inning. Big cut by Gregorius, and a foul ball. And it's 0-2.
He's coming up on his season high. David Phelps had 109 pitches in his last start against Colorado, 8 innings, no runs.
Ground ball to third. Dietrich across the diamond, and that will do it. So the Yankees get another run on 2 hits, 2 men left. Time for the 7th inning stretch after 6.5. 11-2 Marlins. For 11-14-2 for the Marlins, with an 8th spot in the first inning, 2-6-0 for the Yankees. Eovaldi lasted just 2/3 of an inning. You heard Bob and Jack talk about that. Giancarlo Stanton 2 for 4, 3-run home run off the facing of the right field upper deck. He has scored 2 runs, and David Phelps, the former Yankee, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So his night is over with 7 full as he tries to go to 4-3 on the season. Donovan Solano will pinch it for David Phelps. And for the Yankees, well, we saw him yesterday. It's Jose Ramirez. Couldn't throw strikes. That time he does. He left the bases loaded in the 8th inning with nobody out.
Sergio Santos, how about the job he did?
He got out of it without allowing a run. It is a good thing for them to get Ramirez right back out there. Simply because they need guys in the bullpen that can throw. They can't just have 3 people they can go to. And Ramirez has shown in the minors that he can pitch.
Yeah, it's also good for Ramirez himself. You're right, Michael. You can't keep having the same 2 or 3 go-to guys. And if you're going to have a guy in your bullpen, you got to figure out a way where he fits in. How do you get him innings? And after last night of not being able to throw strikes, this is good for this young man to get back out there and throw up a goose egg.
1-2. Little change on the Yankee defense. You see 97 miles an hour. That's why you go back to him. Ryan has moved from second to short, and Drew takes over at second. So Gregorius gets the rest of the night off. Driven into left field. Jones on the run, makes the play for the first out. Let's go back to the studio. Bob Lorenz has more. Well, certainly in the Yankee future, and the question is, how soon? They don't want to rush him, but he's a prime prospect. Here's D. Gordon. Another 3-hit night for him, 3 for 4. Ramirez makes him skip rope.
Well, that's the fine line. You know, how quickly do you bring up your top talent and make sure that they are absolutely ready?
You know, the frustrating thing about this Yankee team, I think that every Yankee fan who hangs in there every night and watches, they feel the same way. They have looked either awful or terrific, and you don't know which one is going to be the dominant way that they'll be the whole year. They started off 3-6, doom and gloom. They went off on that great run. Wow, they're going to be pretty good. Then they had another bad stretch. Then they come back with 7 in a row. Now they're about to lose their 5th game in 6. And you just don't know which Yankee team is which. It's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde sort of team.
Schizophrenic. I mean, the up and down, the disparity, as you just described it, is accurate. I mean,
grounded to second. Drew is there. And when a team plays the way they play, and they play this way sometimes for stretches of time, fans get down. But not that we have to sell you on believing or not believing that. That's your choice how you feel about a team. But take a look at the American League East standings. No one's going anywhere. Everybody is having these droughts and these hot spurts, and that's just the way it is. That's baseball in 2015.
outside of the St. Louis Cardinals, who are 21 games over 500. And yeah, there's a few teams in there. The Astros are 9 games over. Kansas City's 10 games over. You know, a lot of teams are playing, you know, a few games over 500, a couple games under 500. And based on that, Michael, that's your inconsistent look. If you're looking at first place team in Tampa Bay, and to me, that's remarkable. It's, again, it's about starting pitching. They're 7 games over.
Well, the Yankees, I believe, at one point this year got to 9 games over.
All right, so they're 5 games over, right? But I mean, as far as this steamrolling and just getting after it, and every 2 or 3 days, you have someone get on the bump and can stop a 2 or 3 game losing streak.
And you check out the Blue Jays, right? They just had their big run. They won 11 in a row, and they go into Citi Field, and they lose 2 in a row. They just lost to the Mets again tonight. So I just think that's the season it is. There's not a flawless team. There's teams with a lot of issues, and which ones are going to persevere. If you check out the records right now, probably 87 to 88 wins will win the American League East. You don't have to have a great year. And the last time the Yankees or any team won the American League East with that few wins was the Yankee team that you played in the World Series in 2000 and won 87 games that year. And that's a Yankee fan who's now fixating on the bad streak. Fly ball center field. Mason Williams is there. And the Marlins go down in order 1, 2, 3 against Jose Ramirez. We're going to the 8th. It's 11-2 Marlins.
Tomorrow's pitchers brought to you by Verizon Fios, the fastest, most reliable internet. For the Marlins, it'll be Jose Urena, and for the Yankees, Michael Pineda will take the mound. Michael Pineda actually left Marlins Park about 6 o'clock today, so he is already in New York getting ready for the start. And Pineda really had a rough time last time he was on the mound. He lasted just 4 1/3 innings against the Baltimore Orioles, gave up 9 hits in the process, and really just looked shaky on the mound. Throughout the course of this entire season, he really looked good. It was an odd outing for Pineda, but you have to consider in that one, he had a lot of extra rest. The Yankees decided to skip him a start. He had 11 days off. He went out there on the mound and clearly did not look crisp. But the Yankees are hoping they get the old Pineda back, not the Pineda they saw in Baltimore.
Well, that'll be game 3 of this kind of split series. 2 games here, 2 games there. Steve Cishek takes over, and John Ryan Murphy grounds one up the middle for a base hit. Murphy's first at bat. Al, let's talk about what Meredith just hit on. How tough is it for a pitcher who's used to pitching every 5 days to all of a sudden get over a week off because they skipped your turn just to keep your innings down at the end? What goes? Is it location? Is it command? What exactly is it?
Yeah, both. You know what? It depends on the pitcher. I once in a while liked having the extra days, and if it meant that there was an off day, and like what Joe Girardi did, skip a guy who's had some arm troubles in the past, limit his innings, etc., you have to find solid work between that time, and that's what's hard, Michael. So
side work, you mean?
Yeah, side work. You know, when you get on the side, and I'm going to say that Bobby Valentine I thought was really good for me. You know, I pitched the early part of my 30s to my late 30s, and he would find spots to give me that rest. and I liked it. But I knew that my side work, and you'd get multiple side days, right? You had to simulate as best you could to visualize real game action, and that's hard to do. And
maybe Pineda's too young.
Yeah, I watched some of the game, and I'm just going to write that off. Just give him that as like, okay, that was a clunker, and he's going to be back to what he's been, and he's been the most consistent best pitcher the Yankees have had this year. You know, Pineda's a strike thrower, a great slider, but if you don't have a feel for the slider, and it's so good, his slider when he throws it right is unhittable. He was off. He had a bad game.
Now, if you ask the Yankees, will you take a couple of those games with the extra day off and the one time through the rotation, rather than having him throw 220 innings, they'll take it.
Of course.
Because this guy's coming off shoulder surgery a couple of years ago, serious shoulder surgery, and they just don't think that he can handle a workload of 220 innings this year, especially after throwing just over 70 last year. Most major league teams say the most they want you to up your innings limit to is 40 from the year before. 40. So that would say he'd be at 110. Obviously, he's going to do more than that. They'd like to get him to 180, but 220 they don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, you know, all of that is, you know, definitely putting the cart before the horse. And if you can give any of your guys that need it a rest, whether it's a push an extra day, or in the case what we're talking about, Pineda getting a missing a whole start through the course of a whole season, I think there's more beneficial aspects to it than not. And you might, you know, based on the blip of him having the bad start in Baltimore, you might question it, but I don't. I think it's a smart move.
Here's Headley. And there's a strike. Al, I know you've been doing some investigating. What happened with Cishek going from closer to the minor leagues?
Right. I mean, here's a guy, what, 39 saves last year. You know, was their closer the last 2 years. Talking to Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach. You can see his delivery. Now, this is, again, I think it's interesting for those watching, and if you've got a little leaguer, look at his arm action here. It's facing directly toward first base. You see how he sticks toward first and then comes around and then turn. Look at the angle on his arm, how it bends back, and the finish. That's a lot of moving parts. And if you are just off by a click, you miss. And he doesn't blow people away. His unorthodox delivery. He's got good breaking ball, good slider. But you see that, 91, but it's coming from down below, at least it's almost sidearm. So he had a little issue with his landing leg. The way it was described to me was that he kept landing soft as opposed to soft and then firm up. And it actually put him in positions where he was actually even lower where he should have been.
What do you mean land soft?
If we could get another shot of him through his delivery. When you land, there's some flexion on your front leg, and then after you land, you kind of like a pole vaulter firm up. You know, right. You got guys like Justin Verlander who stay firm the whole time, or even a Matt Harvey, and he was staying firm, and then therefore not really transferring weight from his backside to his front side. And in doing so, watch, he's already down, but believe it or not, he's trying to get on top. That's really, really unusual, quirky stuff. But he got it done. And this is where when you get pitching coaches trying to cookie cutter people, you can't. Because you get a guy like Steve Cishek who can get major hitters in.
2 away as Murphy moves to third.
And also, too, here's a guy, you know, he's their closer. And when you're not doing well, you give him a chance to go down to AAA and kind of get a breather and kind of smile because of the pressure. It's not a terrible thing. This is only his second appearance since his call-up back from New Orleans AAA. What we saw last night with Carter Capps and his unusual delivery of how you just can't put every pitcher or similar deliveries in a box. You can't. Different sizes, different shapes.
2-1 on Beltran, 1 for 3.
Leg up, break, arm go toward first. That's not what you would teach. And then kind of a, looks like he's going to go submarine, but he goes sidearm. And then see, firms up a little bit at the end.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 8th. It's 11-2 Marlins. Marlins scored 8 runs and knocked out Nathan Eovaldi in the first inning. He got just 2 outs. Swing and a tip into the glove of Real Muto, and that'll do it. No runs, a hit, no errors. 1 man left. So Cishek goes down to the minor leagues and tries to make this all work out. Make sense of that motion. Looks like they fixed him, at least for tonight. Game and get highlights and analysis of tonight's matchup. Plus, Meredith Marakovitz has the reaction from the clubhouse and also Joe Girardi's manager's report. It's all coming up on the WB Mason Yankees postgame only on Yes. Christian Yelich swings at the first pitch and hits a single right field. Second inning for Jose Ramirez. Hyundai scoreboard 11-2. Marlins lead and 15 hits now. And that'll bring up Ichiro Suzuki. Stanton was 2 for 4 while he was in there with a monstrous 3-run home run in the 5th inning off of Chris Martin. Hit it the other way off the facing of the right field second deck. Sam Dyson is up for the Marlins. Ramirez deals and a strike to Ichiro. He walked him. First and second, nobody out. And Murphy tries to calm down Ramirez. Now they just picked up Ichiro's bat, and his couple of years here with the Yankees, you don't just throw that in the bat rack.
Put it in a special case.
Into a case, which is hermetically sealed, and it travels in a certain way, not to be jostled or anything like that. That could not be as bad if they just did that.
Maybe
either he's changed a lot, or that was not the bat. He really did have a special, almost like a violin case. And that's how the bats travel. And he always used to stand the bat up on the back of the bench and never put it with the other bats in the bat rack. And it was on the opposite end of the dugout from the bat rack.
He's in South Beach now, Mike.
A lot more chill?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll play along. Two. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So a live arm on Jose Ramirez. High fly ball. Left field. Garrett Jones makes the play for the first out. Justin Bour takes a strike. Some other blowouts. Baltimore 18-3 over Philly in the 8th. Nationals 16-1 over Tampa Bay, bottom of the 9th inning. Position players have pitched in both of those games. Who's the best position player you ever saw pitch?
Pulling him. Did he pitch?
Yeah, for the Reds, two innings, but he kind of blew his arm out. That one gets past Murphy, allowing the runners move up.
I think, wasn't there Mark Gray's pitch?
No Met ever pitched?
Yeah, it was like Joe McEwing, but it was very uneventful. I think Todd Seal pitched. I don't remember anything standing out. It's obviously not a good thing, right? I mean, you got a pitcher, a hitter pitching, it's a blowout.
You completely dissed Joe McEwing, Super Joe.
I love Joe McEwing, but I'm saying it was. I don't remember anybody coming in and it being a, something significant, strike out the side or something.
Swing and a miss. Bour down on strikes. Now here's O'Neill pitching, and he was throwing really hard in the first inning, but they kept him in for second inning.
Oh,
he got low bridged.
Look at Barry Larkin.
And then a home run.
Was that Ozzie Virgil? Yeah, I think it was. He gave up a homer.
Probably handled it well. But he said his arm was not the same for a year. There's a base hit to center field off the bat of Real Muto. 1 run scores. Throw comes home. So an RBI for the Marlins catcher. And that makes it 12-2. We'll see Paul this weekend.
Well, Paul, he said that his arm wasn't the same for a year.
Yeah, he said it really. His velocity dropped like 15 to 20 miles an hour from the first inning to the second. He said because you don't realize you're throwing as hard. You don't realize it's all legs and the way you should be pitching. He said his arm wasn't the same for a while. We're actually going to see Paul tomorrow at the stadium. John Flaherty and Paul O'Neill will do the honors.
I wonder if a guy who hurt his arm. Was it Canseco?
Yeah, Canseco, yeah.
Actually, like, blew his arm out.
Jeff Baker pinch hitting. This is a pitcher spot. And that one goes past Murphy. But Ichiro stays put as Real Muto moves to second.
Let's see what happens here. Ramirez just missing big time. He's got a great arm. In order to be a pitcher successfully at the major league level, you have to have command of a fastball. You start from there.
One and two. Two and two. Back at it again tomorrow night. 7 o'clock start at the stadium. 7:07 to be exact. Same two teams. After the game, they take off and head to New York City. The 2-2. Strike three. Baker down looking. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. 2 men left. We're going to the 9th inning. Marlins 12, Yankees 2. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Blimpie. Try one of the new oven-fired artisan flatbread sandwiches. Blimpie, America's sub shop. By People's United Bank NA. See what know-how can do for you. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2015 models. Pretty skyline here in Miami. Ugly score line here at Marlins Park. From the 8th inning on, or from the first inning when they scored 8 runs, it has not been good for the Yankees. Sam Dyson, in his 30th game, will try to get the final 3 outs of this one as we go to the 9th. Nathan Eovaldi gave up 8 runs without getting 3 outs in the first inning. He lasted just 2/3 of an inning. And the Marlins have not looked back. David Phelps, the former Yankee, will get the win in this one as the Marlins lead 12-2. Stephen Drew against Dyson. Grounder to second. 1 pitch, 1 out. Eovaldi has stayed there and suffered with the rest of his teammates. Some pitchers will stay there toward the end of the inning. They're taken out, and then they can go in. But after he iced down, he stayed there.
We don't even know if he iced down. Maybe just so disappointed, reflective. Hopefully he'll have a short memory and turn the page quickly.
Brendan Ryan takes a strike. Giancarlo Stanton with a monster 3-run home run. Dyson drops a curve in on Ryan. Grounded to short. Solano. And the Yankees are down to their final out. Well, the damage for the Marlins, Al, 1 through 4 in their lineup was 9 for 17, with 7 runs scored and 5 ribbies.
Yeah, it was just like a boxing match of first round, just peppered. Just couldn't get up.
Garrett Jones lines one the other way, keeps slicing, and it's a foul ball.
You know, and hitting is definitely contagious when you get guys getting good approaches and swings and putting the ball in play, whether it's line drive or just getting lucky. I mean, that string of 7 in a row of all singles until Adeiny Echeverria, 8th batter in the lineup, gets a triple. 6-0. Hard to get back from that.
All right, so the Yankees down to their final strike. 0-2 on Garrett Jones. Dyson deals. And that one is laced into left center field. Yelich on the run. He makes the play. And that's the ball game. Wasn't in doubt since the first inning, but now it's official. The Marlins beat the Yankees by a score of 12-2. A-Rod does not get a chance to bat again in his hometown.